Hi, my name is Shane Riley, and this is my speed run for the second place position of Super Win the Game. So when you start this game out, you can actually press the jump button and hear the player jumping while that text shows up. This for me is the most difficult part of the run. Thankfully, it's at the very beginning. With a controller, jumping at just the right point to avoid that bat seems to be pretty difficult. I haven't tried playing it with a keyboard to see if it's any more consistent. So Super Win the Game is a follow-up to a game called You Have to Win the Game. Both of them are made by J. Kyle Pittman, who is one of a pair of twin brothers that make up a company called Minor Key Games. You Have to Win the Game is a bit more punishing of a platformer, but it's also shorter. There are fewer items that you have to collect that give you abilities. You don't have to get these items to restore the king of this realm. So there's a bit more to the game, but the mechanics in general are the same. So you have these bells that when you travel through them act as sort of a checkpoint. When you die, you're immediately sent back to the last bell. So there's a certain amount of abuse of these checkpoints that you can do. So there's a few of them throughout this run where you intentionally hold position much further back than your current progress, so that once you get to a certain point, you can simply die and warp back to a more convenient spot. In You Have to Win the Game, there's a lot more instances of skipping these bells. And that run, at least for me, is a bit more difficult to do. The world record for this game at present is about 17 minutes and 27 seconds. And for You Have to Win the Game, it's more like 4 minutes and something. That right there that you just saw, that's jumping as late as you possibly can and still be shielded by all of those bullets. So this sub-weapon gives us the double jump. We're kind of doing this out of order from what you would normally do throughout the course of the game. There are some items. You see that blue dotted outline over there. There's these two crystals, blue crystal and red crystal. Those fill in blocks, like in Super Mario World when you hit one of the P switches. So instead of getting those two items, what we're doing is getting double jump and getting the spider gloves, which allow you to kind of stick to the wall like Super Meat Boy and do wall jumps. And with the two of those, you don't need to get the blue and red crystals to get everywhere. So this area we're going to, I believe, is meant to be the fourth major area of the game. The first area, you get the blue crystal, I believe. The second area, you get the red crystal. Third area was that ice area where you get the double jump, and then this, you get the spider gloves. At this point in the normal gameplay, you would then start collecting what are called hollow hearts. You need, I believe, 5 of those in order to, or no, 6 in order to open up the final area. In the background there, you see the number 27 in Roman numerals. That seems to be significant in this game. There's a spot that we don't actually visit that you have to fall down this repeating screen 27 times before you go into the door in order to advance. I haven't asked the developer, but I'm wondering if it might be the age that he started working on the game. You see there, I hit that bell accidentally. In an ideal situation, you would skip that bell, hop up here, grab the heart, hit these spikes, and you'd be back up at the top. So now we're going to go to the second area and grab the magic snorkel. If you've ever played Symphony of the Night, which is a favorite of the developer, you'll know what that does. You'll see that there's a lot of Zelda 2 influence. Like this overworld map is very Zelda 2-like, with the exception of there not being any random encounters with enemies. And then you have the side-scrolling parts, when you actually get to a place of significance on the map. There's also some hidden spots. Here, for example, is the hidden area with the snorkel. You would normally find out about this from a character in the second dungeon. Here we're going to do a pretty precise wall jump here, which I unfortunately didn't get the first 2 times. That's usually one of the easier jumps. There's one towards the end of the game that you can also do to save you a couple seconds that I don't attempt, because I'd like to have a more consistent run until I know I have that move down. Since it's at the very end, at about 16 minutes in, it tends to ruin the run. Something interesting about this game is that after releasing it, there was sort of a speedrun mode added to the game, where there's specific maps that you can go and play on that keep track of your completion time on a leaderboard with everyone else that has the Steam version of this game. And unlike the normal game, if you hold down left or right as you go into and come out of a door, it increases your walk speed. So you can do that repeatedly and build up your walk speed so that you go much faster than you're normally supposed to. And that allows you to jump further in addition to running through the level faster. Here you see me doing some calculated jumps. That's because there are invisible enemies in that spot. And same thing in that previous screen, there's an invisible platform that you can land on. Same thing right there. Those are all meant to be viewed later on once you get a specific item. So with this run, if it gets accepted to AGDQ, I've already contacted the developer to see if he would be up for providing some commentary and possibly some interviews during the run via Skype or some other sort of audio chat. So he'll be able to do that along with this run. Right now he's working on a game that's also a side-scroller that's more like a Castlevania sort of game. It's called Gunmetal Arcadia, and I believe he's close to finishing it. So here I'm a little bit behind my best time up to this point because of those 2 extra jumps I had to do in the magic snorkel section. Right there, there's an opportunity to fall in there without touching the side of that block, but really that's only going to save you a few milliseconds, so I don't really worry about that section. This upcoming area also has some invisible blocks. So that silhouette in the background, if you jump at that point and then do another double jump, you'll hit those too. This is a little tricky. You gotta land on this and time your jump so that you're at the right spot on the wall and that you can clear those spikes and the projectiles coming down. That mask simply allows you to see the stuff that was previously unseen. So those enemies are now visible, although we'll never encounter them again. But what it does allow you to do is see a character that gives you the next item in the chain of items that you need. So the next item's back where we got the spider gloves. It's called the Arcadian's Seal, and that allows you to open doors that are sealed with that mask sort of icon. So here's the guy. Gives you that seal, and now you can go and get the Steel Skin Catalyst, which allows you to fall into lava or acid. And that gives us the ability to traverse the entire game. So here I'm going to intentionally avoid hitting those checkpoint bells. When I went through the door from the subcon area into that village, that set a checkpoint. So jumping over that one, and then these next two, and getting through here unharmed, allows me to get this sub-item, and then fall back down and die by hitting that giant shrimp. And it takes me right back to the door to go back into the subcon shortcuts. Now we can get back into the first dungeon. And we're going to do the same sort of thing here. So that's the only checkpoint bell that I'm going to hit. And with this section, I'm still a bit cautious. I'm not fully trained in this section. I think probably 4 or 5 more runs through this section in particular, and I'll know the proper line for it. There are enemies that go back and forth across the screen at a very fast pace, so you need to time your jump just right and time your location as you're falling through this vertical shaft to make sure that you don't hit any of them. And for some reason I couldn't latch on to that. Alright, so we jump over that continue bell. Continue to fall through that area. Make sure not to hit that. I'm gonna skip that checkpoint bell also. And this one. Now it is possible to get through this section and jump through that area without having to wait. It's very precise. I didn't want to really screw that up because I knew I had a pretty decent time so that I could be my personal best here. So once we get that item, we can just get hit, come back to this checkpoint. Here I'm going to go to the left side of the first dungeon, grab the 5th heart, I believe. And you can fall in a very precise line there where your momentum is not slowed down. And there we don't even wait to hit the ground before we start jumping. So you've got one more heart left, and then we can go to the final area of the game. This final heart's a little tricky as well. You have to fall down this set area through some fake spikes into an area filled with fish that are going horizontally, and you have to go around a large set of spikes on the ceiling and the floor in order to get the final heart. So what I normally do is I wait until the 4th pass of the top fish, and then I jump and hold on to the wall until I'm at the bottom edge of it. So that's the first pass, second, go. Now we can hop back up to the top. And we're going going to take a shortcut that deposits us back into the central area of the world map. Go through some pretty easy cave segments. And up at the start of this dungeon, in the initial version of the game, you used to be able to jump so that you would grab the wall at the left edge of those spikes, and you could get onto the top of this set of rooms. And you could just continue to walk across the entire top of this area, and you would finally fall in to the final spot of this level. And that allowed you to also skip a number of items in the game. You didn't have to fall into the lava, for example, so you didn't need to get the steel skin catalyst, which meant you didn't have to get the seal and the mask. So once you got double jump and spider gloves, you were all set to come in here. Because with the door being locked from you not having all the hearts, you didn't really have to get through the door to begin with. Now up here, there is a skip that saves you a little bit of time. You can jump on that left wall up in the top and use the combination of spider gloves and double jump to hit that red brick up there and jump across that length. But I've never been able to do it, so I go with the safety strap there. And see if I make it through here without being hit. There we go. That right there is a bit of a time saver on the world record run. So we're not at the point where we have seen the fastest run for this game yet. Here we need to collect all these hearts. Well, really, kind of activate them. And here you can double jump over that guy. I didn't want to risk it. Really, with this run, I was just trying to get the second place run. My time so far is already past what the world record is. And prior to this run, my previous best of 18 minutes 52 seconds was already the second place position, but I wanted to get a more solid run in before submitting this. So here's our final heart activation. Now we can go back to the start, and that heart door will open up for us. So we restore life to the king. For some reason he still has gray skin. And we hop in here, talk to the Arcadian, and when this screen transitions, that's time. There we go. So that's Super Win the Game. Really fun platformer, has very tight controls, very easy to play over and over in order to get a good speedrun time.